All right, so this is single leg stance breakout. Okay, and so first of all, we're going to have to look at the vestibular and core and see if there's any dysfunction there when we break it out. Vestibular system, again, our balance is controlled by proprioception, controlled by our eyesight, and our vestibular system, the three canals that we want to look at. Okay, so we want to rule in or rule out if there's a vestibular problem. If there is some vestibular issues going on, then either treat that, or if you're not comfortable, refer it out to a vestibular specialist. Okay, so how we assess that is we use 2 AirX foam pads, okay, and they standardize it with 2, all right, so it causes more difficulty standing on it, right? So they start with 2. The thing is they're slippery, so when a person gets on the foam pads, help them on so they don't slip, okay? So go ahead and stand up there for me, you know. Okay, and so what we're going to do is get about shoulder width apart, okay, arms by your side, and all we're going to do is we're going to have her stand like this, eyes open for 20 seconds. She can do this, all right? From there, we're going to have her then close her eyes for 20 seconds. Again, it can be 50% sway. Okay, go ahead for me. You increase the sway just because now you're taking out your eyesight. So the foam pads mess with your proprioception, right, and how you react to the ground reaction forces. Now you close your eyes, and now you're relying mostly on your vestibular system. Okay? And that's slower reacting than the other 2. Okay? Open your eyes for me. So let's say 20 seconds is fine. Okay? So she passed that portion. If she couldn't do that, we're not going to put her through this other stuff we're going to do now, okay, right? So she has to be able to do the other 2. So this is like a clinical test for sensory interaction and balance, right? So in these high-performing athletes or even pilots, stuff like that, the SFMA use more motion to see if we get the fluid inside the vestibular system or canals moving fast enough, it can detect these vestibular issues that maybe some people didn't think they had. Okay? So with this portion of the test, we're actually going to move the head rapidly in different directions and see if by moving the fluid, it messes with the vestibular system. Okay? We have to move at a fast rate. Usually 70 beats per second, per minute. We're just going to move at a fast beat. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with you just eyes open, just like you're doing, arms by your side. What I want you to do is I want you to go about 3 times. Let's go up and down. Really fast, on that speed, 3 times, and then stop, look straight ahead. Okay? Go ahead. Stop. Not too bad. Little sway in the beginning, not too bad. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing, rotating side to side. Being quick, quick, quick. Okay, 1, 3, 4, 10, go ahead. Okay, look straight ahead. Okay, so she loses a little bit, but she catches it. Okay, now we're going to do side again. Lateral flexion. Alright, so not too bad, she passed on that, right? Okay, so now we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to do it with your eyes closed. So when I say look straight ahead, I don't want you to open your eyes. I just want you to be facing this way. Right?
Okay.
So you're going to close your eyes, you can go up and down fast 3 times, go. Look straight ahead, okay? Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad. So, now we're going to do it again. Let's just try it again.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, close your eyes, go fast, up and down. Look straight ahead.
Oh, no.
Alright. So that would be when we look straight ahead, eyes should stay closed, right? I was really taxing her vestibular system here. Now, if that would happen, we would be done and we'd move on, right? But because it's Michaela, we're going to do the other 2, right? So now we're going to try it. Eyes closed and rotate backwards.
Okay.
No, that's good. Now I'll do side bend. Alright, that's not bad. Right? Then we're going to gently just step off. Right? So the Kayla, there could be some vestibular stuff going on there, right? Because we're moving that fluid around pretty fast. And when I do this, I do the same thing Kayla does. So you're good. And so right there, it'd probably be like, okay, it might be possible vestibular problem. We can treat that or work on some things. And we can work on some of that stuff easily in the clinic too, right? So from there, now we're going to look at more of the core strength. Okay, so the core strength is going to be, we're going to do a half kneel. What I want you to do is just go ahead and put your right knee on the AirX pad. Okay? And the foot's going to be plantar flex. Okay? And then this leg is going to be, hang on me for balance, is going to be 90 degrees, but the heel is going to be directly in line with your knee. Okay? And once it gets situated, we're just going to see how well they can actually maintain its position. This takes out the ankle because it's plantar flex. The ankle's not helping, so now all you're looking at is right hip and trunk. That's what you're looking at. That's what you're testing. Looks pretty good, right? Can we switch to the other side? Okay, plantar flex. And we're make sure this is in a nice straight line. This is moved over a little bit more. Okay, something like that. Okay, let her get situated for a couple seconds. So cord looks good, right? So she passed this portion of it. Let's say whenever she did this, on the left side down, say she was all over the place. Okay, let's pretend that. Okay? Then we'd go to the next step. Okay, so why don't you come on up for me? And we're going to go over here on the table. And we're going to go in the quadruped position. So if her left knee was really unstable, then we'd come to this portion. We're going to try to figure out, is it the hips or is it the spine that's causing the problem? By putting her in this position, we take off the spine, forces are still going through the hips, right? And so in this position, since the left leg was the one that, she was good, right? But we're pretending the left was unstable. Since that was the one that was unstable, we're actually going to start with the weight going through the right leg. So we're going to keep 90-90 position with everything. Okay, hands flat under your shoulder, please. I know. Just for a second.
Yeah.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to leave this on the table. We're going to take this leg and this arm, and you're going to extend them both out, nice and slow, and then come on back. Right? And let's do it one more time. So go up, kind of hold it out there, hold it, and then come on back. Pretty solid, right? Which she showed that there. So I'm expecting that to be. Now we're going to go to the side that we pretended was unstable. So now you're going to keep this here, and you're going to lift these legs up.
But wait.
There you go. And then come on back. So pretty solid, right? So that's what we do. So if she was on her left knee, she was unstable. And say we came up here, and we did that left knee down, right? So we're going to lift these out. And she did this, and she was still wobbly, then we'd say that would be a motor control on her hip, not her spine. You took the spine out. Right? If she came over here and she did that, right, this one up, and she's solid, right, then we'd probably say, well, it's a spine issue because we took the spine out and now she's solid. Does that make sense? So hopefully that makes sense. So you can determine if it's a hip stability motor control or a trunk stability motor control. So that's your core stabilization, right? All right, so we keep moving. So we did vestibular and core, and now in order to do a single leg stance, we need to look at ankle dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, and ankle inversion and eversion. All right? So I'm going to have Michaela come on over here. This is the one that you're going to keep your toe against the wall, and your other toe in the back of your heel. Your fists are going to be on the wall, and your arms are going to be right in the middle of your trunk, just like that. Okay? Just like that. So you want a nice midline of the arm, feet positioned directly in front of one another. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look at their dorsiflexion. Okay? And how we're going to do this, and I'm going to have Michaela go ahead and lift this top of your foot off the floor and maintain, you got to maintain this, right? Because if they do that and they start shifting here, then they're doing exactly what she's doing, and that's not what we want, right? So we standardize it, keep it right there, and now once they're off the floor, I want you to actually rotate your foot back and forth. That way you can show that the metatarsals are off the floor. Right? So then that would be, she cleared it. That should be clearing that test. Okay, now keep it there. Now I want you to go ahead and just get this foot off the ground. Like actually put this whole foot back here. There you go. And now just come up on your toes. And then that should be 40 degrees of plantar flexion. Okay, looks like that's good 40 degrees. All right? So should be clearing the toes at 40 degrees. Now switch feet. There you go. Arms in the middle of your body, just like that. Now go ahead and lift this toes off. Clear it by moving it back and forth. All right, so it's looking pretty good. All right, now go ahead and bring that foot back. Come up on your toes. There you go. Looks 40 degrees. Pressure should be going through her first and second metatarsals. Right? If they go through the third, fourth, fifth metatarsals, she's using her inverters to help as well. So make sure it's going through the first two. So it looks like 40, so that's good. Right? So both dorsiflexion and plantar flexion are good. All right? So from there, we can do it passively. But instead of going to passive, I'm going to look at her inversion first before we get her on the table. All right, so come on over here. And have you sit down. There you go, like that. And again, your knees and hips are 90 degrees. Now with this, arms are going to be by your side. All I want you to do is I want you just to invert and evert your foot without your feet moving. Okay. Keep going. A little more. Not bad. Looks like it's a little more difficult. Actually, everting than inverting on the left, but so this is all a subjective call here. There's no objective measures, okay? So just look at see how well they can do that. Okay, so that's inversion, eversion. Now we're going to lie you down, and we're going to go prone with your feet off the table. Okay? So in this position then, again, we want to look at passive dorsiflexion. Now her dorsiflexion was fine, but if it wasn't, right, then you can go ahead and dorsiflex passively. And you want to have at least 20 degrees of dorsiflexion at the knee straight position. So I'm going to have you just relax. Okay, and you're assessing how much dorsiflexion she has. I'd probably say she probably doesn't have 20 there because she didn't really clear that well off the floor, but probably has less than 20 there. So I'd probably measure that, but again, I probably wouldn't call that 20. So she probably has some dorsiflexion or ankle dorsiflexion mobility issues going on as well. Even though she cleared, she wasn't like way off the ground. So that's passive there. For plantar flexion, passive, she had 40 there. You can bend the knee up, and all you're going to do is just passively flex her, plantar flexor, and looks about 40. So her plantar flexion's fine, right? So you have ankle dorsiflexion, plantar flexion, you did passively. Now if you flip over for me, you can then assess her, okay? You can assess her, I did this, you can assess her inversion, eversion. So I'm going to kind of use a pistol grip, grab her heel, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of evert and invert to see what kind of motion we have. And that feels pretty good. So I think she has enough inversion and eversion in her ankle. Alright? And so her vestibular, to review it, her vestibular is, yeah, she might have some vestibular issues going on, right? Her core was good. We did the core. We looked at her dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. They're both good. Dorsiflexion is all tight. So with her, I would probably go ahead and work on some ankle dorsiflexion, see what's causing it, if it's a joint issue or if it's soft tissue, work on some of that. Otherwise, she's pretty solid, and we kind of saw that with her balance. Right? And so she's pretty solid with that. So that's a single leg stance breakout.